You're doing relationships in a way that is hurting you, and you probably know it. You give too much. You explain too much. You chase too hard. You keep trying to prove that you're worth choosing, and it keeps blowing up in your face. She barely reacted when you begged. She brushed off your tears like they were nothing. But the second you pulled away, the second you stopped calling, stopped checking, stopped hoping, suddenly you became important in her mind. That switch is what confuses you. You think, so now you care. You feel crazy. You feel angry. You feel weak, forever caring this much about someone who treated you like an option. Every man who has been through this knows that feeling in his chest. That quiet fight inside where one part of you wants to keep holding on, and another part knows you need to let go. You're not weak because you cared. You'd only stay weak if you stayed in that same role. You might have loved a girl deeply, honestly, fully. You gave time, money, energy, attention. You were there. And then she chose some guy who gives her half of what you did. Someone who barely tries. Someone who doesn't care like you did. That experience can mess with your head. It makes you think something is wrong with you. It makes you question your value. This isn't about boys who want to play games. This is for you if you actually showed up. If you stayed loyal. If you stayed kind, even when she didn't deserve it. If you were honest and straight with her, and you still got burned. Here's the hard truth. In the world you're in right now, being a good guy is not enough. Being kind without standards is not strength. Being loyal without boundaries is not attractive. In a lot of modern situations, that side of you actually gets used against you. The more you give, the more some women just take. The more patient you are, the more they keep testing you. They test until you feel empty and confused, and you start wondering if your value has a time limit. But there's another piece to this. She usually doesn't really feel the loss of you until you become the kind of man who no longer cares whether she comes back or not. Not fake indifference. Real detachment. Real focus on yourself. That's when regret starts for her. And that's also when peace starts for you. You can build that. Call it stoic. Call it self-control. Call it backbone. Whatever name you give it, it's a way of living where you lead your own life. You don't beg for space in someone else's. You handle women calmly. You set standards without raising your voice. You rebuild yourself into a man who is grounded and steady without losing your kindness or your values. So let's break down where you went wrong and what needs to change. First, you need to understand how much she benefits when you chase. She doesn't feel bad when you double text. She doesn't sit there worried when you send long paragraphs trying to explain yourself. She doesn't suddenly value you more when you keep proving your loyalty without her ever asking for it. And no, she doesn't respect your effort more just because you keep increasing it. Every good morning text she didn't earn, every call you make that she doesn't return, every favor you do just to look like the good guy pushes you into a certain category in her mind. You become the guy who is always there. The guy she can count on, even when she gives you the bare minimum. And that category is not where attraction grows. This is uncomfortable to hear, but you need to understand it clearly. She feels strong when you chase, because your chasing tells her a lot. It tells her that you see her as more valuable than yourself. It tells her that your time and attention are easy to get. It tells her that you are more afraid of losing her than you are of losing your self-respect. Once she sees you that way, she starts to relax, not in a good way, in a lazy way. She stops putting effort in. She starts canceling plans last minute. She takes hours or days to reply. She avoids honest conversations. She gives you unclear answers so she can keep you around without committing. And you accept it. You take crumbs and tell yourself it's better than nothing. But the longer you accept crumbs, the less she feels any need to offer more. You sit across from her hoping she remembers how you were in the beginning. Confident, light, playful. Not stressed about her replies, but in her mind, that version of you doesn't exist anymore. She replaced him with the version of you that keeps chasing even when she shows you clear disrespect. And the real problem is not only what she's doing, it's that you keep offering yourself like you're not already enough. You keep acting like you have to earn what should be given to you freely in a healthy connection. A woman can only treat you at the level you set for yourself. If you present yourself as low priority, she will treat you as low priority. When you chase without being chosen, without being claimed, without being respected, you don't look romantic. You look replaceable. She's not always acting out of pure cruelty. A lot of the time she is acting out of comfort and habit. She knows you are hooked on the hope that she might finally see it. She can see you trying one more time, sending one more message, giving one more compliment, waiting for the moment where she suddenly understands your value. So she keeps holding back. Your hope feeds her control. You keep thinking that one more kind gesture, one more vulnerable message, one more long talk will finally change things. But it doesn't, because she already sees you a certain way. She sees you as easy to read, easy to predict, always there. And in her mind, always there no matter what, doesn't mean devoted, it means conquered. This is why you need to stop chasing and start choosing. You need to become the man who doesn't run after someone's attention, because he actually understands he is the prize, not in an arrogant way. In a clear way, you know what you bring. You know how you treat people. You know how you show up. So you also know you don't have to beg anyone to notice it. Your value is not in how much effort you throw at a person. Your value is in how you protect your time, your energy, your peace. When she sees that you don't chase, when she feels that you're not always there to comfort her ego, when she can't predict your every move anymore, the story in her mind changes. Her confidence about you being always available starts to weaken. But here's the important part. Don't change your behavior just to get a reaction out of her. That's still chasing. That's still about her. You stop chasing because you finally understand your worth. You stop chasing because you respect yourself more than you fear losing her. Your real strength is not in how hard you try. It's in how well you can say no to inconsistency, no to mixed signals, no to endless tests, and yes, to your goals, your health, your work, your discipline. The moment you stop trying to force her to see your value is the moment she is forced to sit with the reality of losing you. That leads into something even more powerful: real indifference. She expected you to fight for her even after the disrespect, even after the lies, even after she made you feel like a backup option. She thought you would send long messages, show up, argue, try to get closure. That's what she planned for. That's the role she assigned to you. You were the one who always cared, the one who forgave even without a real apology, the one who stayed loyal even while she made you feel like you weren't enough, the one who kept showing up even when she pulled away. Over time, she learned something dangerous about you, that you would never walk away. She thought she could keep you in her life without committing to you, that she could keep you connected through memories, guilt, and what-ifs, while she explored other options. But at some point, something inside you changes. You stop reacting, you stop explaining yourself, you stop chasing after every small sign of interest. You don't post sad quotes. You don't try to make her jealous. You don't try to show her how hurt you are. You just go quiet. Not the kind of quiet that secretly hopes she comes back. A different kind. A quiet that means you've already closed that door in your mind. That's real indifference. It's not fake. It's not a trick. It shows up when her opinion no longer controls you, when her attention doesn't give you that strong spike of emotion anymore, when what she does with other men no longer feels like a punch in your chest, because you've grown past the version of yourself that believed you needed her to feel complete. At that point, you become a different type of man to her. Not the extra safe, he'll always be there guy. You become the man she can't access emotionally, the one she no longer has influence over. And that is when regret starts for her. Not because she suddenly turned into a completely different person, but because she lost her script. In her head, you were supposed to be the one who never leaves. The one she could put on pause and return to whenever she felt like it. Your lack of effort becomes a mirror for her behavior. It shows her clearly how she treated someone who actually cared. So she starts to watch you again. She checks your social media. She brings your name up with friends. She pays attention. You might notice the small signs, but your reaction is different now. You see it, and you keep moving. Because her attention no longer feeds your ego. Her interest no longer feels like a reward. That is the real win. The real victory is not when she crawls back. It's when you genuinely don't care whether she does or not. When your peace is worth more to you than her presence. Indifference isn't about becoming cold and harsh to everyone. It's about managing where your love goes. It's about giving your time and affection to people who appreciate it and stopping the moment you see it's being misused. When a man reaches that level, he becomes hard to shake. People remember him not because he begged, but because he chose himself when everyone expected him to stay small. From there, you move into detachment. She didn't really believe you would ever leave. Not because you were weak, but because she thought she had pushed you so far that you would just stay stuck. Stuck hoping. Stuck waiting. Stuck wondering what you did wrong. And then you detach. You don't detach out of rage. You detach out of clarity. You see the pattern clearly. You see the empty promises. You see the cycle. You see how often you were the one bending and how little she adjusted. Once that becomes clear in your mind, you stop being available to play that role. Detachment is powerful because it's not just about blocking someone or ignoring them. It's about taking back everything you kept giving away without any return. Your attention, your long conversations, your energy, your mental space. You thought all of that was building a future. You thought it would eventually be matched, but she never planned to match it. She only planned to benefit from it. When you finally accept that, you step back quietly. You don't send a long speech. You don't list all the reasons. You just stop offering yourself where you aren't valued. That's when you become hard for her to understand. You're no longer the guy who is always there to make her feel better when other men disappoint her. You're not the backup option she can fall back on whenever she feels bored or lonely. That is when her sense of control starts to break. Not because she lost love she was deeply invested in, but because she lost access to something comfortable. She depended on your forgiveness. She depended on your patterns. She depended on you being predictable. When that disappears, she feels lost. She doesn't know how to read you anymore, and that makes her uneasy. Meanwhile, your life starts to change. You stop checking her page. You stop thinking about what she's doing tonight. You stop waiting for certain notifications. Instead, you invest in yourself. You hit the gym with focus. You work on your finances. You fix your sleep. You spend time with people who actually respect you. You replace her, not with another girl, but with your own progress, with your own peace, with your own goals. That is the shift that breaks the version of you she thought you were. You used to wait for her to care. Now you don't even notice when she tries to come back, because your life is full. Your emotional energy is not centered around her opinion anymore. Pain was the first push that made all this possible. It hurts deeply when someone you give your all to treats you like you don't matter. When the girl you would have done anything for is laughing and flirting with another guy, while you're still trying to hold yourself together. When your loyalty becomes something she jokes about. When your consistency becomes the reason she says she's bored. That kind of pain can feel heavy. It can make you feel numb. It can make you lose interest in everything. But that pain does not have to be the end of you. It can be the moment where your whole mindset changes. Pain is there to wake you up. It forces you to see what you didn't want to see. It pulls away the fake picture you had in your head about who she was. Without all the excuses, without all the hope, you start to see her actions as they really were. She didn't see you the way you saw her. She saw what you could do for her. She saw how you made her feel. She saw your effort. She saw your chasing. But she didn't treat your heart as something to protect. She treated it as something she could use and replace. That realization is rough, but it is the start of a new version of you. Not a colder version. Not a bitter version. A version that is more aware. A man who stops looking for his value only in how much love he gives to one girl. A man who knows that if someone can hurt him and sleep just fine, they were never safe to trust at that level. Pain pushes you toward discipline, toward better habits. You don't start training hard out of anger. You do it out of respect for the man you can become. You don't cut her off because you hate her. You do it because you see that begging for affection is below your standard now. Pain shows you that your peace is not something you can keep trading away, just to stay close to someone. It shows you that the version of love you were obsessed with only existed in your side of the story. Once you see that, you stop clinging to what hurt you, and you start building what actually heals you. Nobody is coming to rescue you from this. That text you keep hoping to see won't rebuild your confidence. That apology you want to hear won't erase all the nights you sat staring at your phone, wondering why you weren't enough. That one last talk won't suddenly make everything feel fair. What will change your life is what you do with the pain. You can turn it into strength, skills, progress, discipline. You can use it to sharpen your focus. You can use it to raise your standards. You can use it to become a man who never again stays in a situation where his effort is taken for granted. And here comes the part she never predicted. Your growth becomes her regret. She laughed when you cried. She ignored you when you tried to talk honestly. She rolled her eyes when you opened up. She thought your vulnerability made you easy to control. She thought your love meant you would always come back. What she didn't expect was that you would turn that pain into growth. She didn't think you would transform into a man who would never let her near him again at the same level. That realization doesn't hit while you're still sending emotional messages. It doesn't hit while you are still posting sad content. It hits when you stop looking back. It hits when you start doing well in areas she never thought you would. When your body improves. When your money improves. When your social life improves. When people respect you in rooms she will never enter. She once had direct access to you. She took it lightly. Now that access is gone. In her mind, you were supposed to stay stuck. Stuck in that city. Stuck in that job. Stuck in that emotional loop with her. You were supposed to keep waiting. To keep hoping she would one day pick you over the other men she kept around while telling you she wasn't ready. Instead, you chose something else. You chose purpose. You chose to put your energy into things that actually move your life forward. That change can bother her a lot because now every man she meets gets compared to the version of you she remembers, not the version that begged. The version that came after. The more focused you, the more confident you. The man who stopped asking to be picked and started acting like someone who has options. You took betrayal and turned it into discipline. You took heartbreak and turned it into progress in the gym. You took rejection and turned it into motivation for your projects, career, or business. You stopped looking for worth in whether she chooses you. You started finding it in who you become every single day. The irony is simple. She didn't want to grow with you. She wanted the benefits of you without the responsibility of matching you. Now she watches you grow without her. Part of her will know that the man you are now would never look twice at the girl she was when she thought she had you locked in. People mention your name with respect now. They talk about your changes. They talk about what you're building. She might pretend not to care. She might act neutral. But your story stays in her mind. She compares. She thinks about how she treated you. If she reaches out at some point, most of the time it won't be because of a deep change in her character. It'll be from discomfort, from curiosity, from regret about losing access to you. By then, the goal is that you are already ahead. That you're living in a way where her messages no longer carry real weight in your life. Another important shift, you stop explaining. She doesn't deserve a long speech from you about how much she hurt you. She doesn't deserve a detailed breakdown of your emotions. She doesn't get to sit in the center while you list all your reasons and memories so she can feel important again. The moment she turned your heart into an afterthought, she also gave up the right to understand how deeply she affected you. As a good man, your first instinct is to explain. You want her to understand that you cared. You want her to realize how serious it was to you. You want her to finally admit what she did. But the more you explain, the more you open the door for her to twist it, to minimize it, to treat the whole thing like a small disagreement instead of a pattern. She won't always sit there ready to accept the truth. Many times she will come with excuses prepared, with little jokes. With "that's not what I meant," and "you're too sensitive," and "you're overthinking." You walk away from those talks even more drained. Not because she didn't hear you, but because you gave her another chance to make your pain look small. This is why you have to leave her with questions instead of answers. You step back without a dramatic speech. You don't give her a detailed summary of everything wrong she did. You just stop showing up to be misunderstood. A man who doesn't explain becomes confusing to someone who is used to having everything spelled out. She doesn't get to control the story anymore. She doesn't get to keep framing it like you were the problem. That small piece of confusion is the only thing that might make her think. She starts to reflect when she doesn't have your emotional breakdowns to push against. You don't do this to punish her. You do it because you deserve rest. You deserve calm. You deserve days where you are not always trying to make someone get it. When you stop explaining, you're not running from responsibility. You're choosing your peace over her approval. You're protecting your energy from going into a place that has shown you again and again that it doesn't care. She might start wondering what changed, why you stopped chasing, why you stopped writing long messages, why you no longer react. Those questions will stay in her mind far longer than any speech from you would have. Meanwhile, you're moving on. You're building a life that doesn't revolve around whether she understands your side of the story. Then there's no contact. No contact is not a trick. It's not a move in some dating game. It's not something you do for a few days just to see if she will text you. Real no contact is about closure. It's about choosing to leave the cycle completely. She expected you to always be somewhere near, to still check on her after she disrespected you, to watch her content while she entertained other men, to stay in her orbit reacting to her mood swings and vague posts like you had nothing better to do. What actually shakes her is not your anger. It's not some dramatic confrontation. It's when you calmly cut the connection and don't come back. When you don't send any more messages. When you stop watching her. When you move your attention somewhere else without announcing it. This kind of no contact feels different because it's not used to cause a reaction. It comes from a real decision. I'm done repeating this. You don't block and unblock. You don't disappear and then pop back up. You just leave the situation and let it stay in the past. You notice something when you do this. You suddenly have more mental space. You stop checking your phone every 5 minutes. You start having days where you don't think about her until late, or maybe not at all. You stop lining your schedule around the possibility that she might reach out. Every message you don't send is you voting for your own future. Every time you avoid replying to a random "hey" is you keeping your standards in place. The longer you stay out of that cycle, the less power it has over you. She usually notices, not because you told her anything, but because of your silence. She tries to get small reactions from you. She views your stories, she posts things aimed at you, she sends light, casual texts to see if you're still there. When nothing works, she starts to feel the loss. Not just of you as a person, but of the control she thought she had. The mistake many men make is thinking no contact is just a method to get her back. That's not what it is. Real no contact is you stepping out of a game that was never fair. It's you deciding to stop taking emotional damage in the name of love. You do it because your peace matters more than her attention. You do it because you're building a different life now. You let her think what she wants. You don't try to correct the story she tells other people. You don't chase after your own name. You are not living in that chapter anymore. Your energy is going into your health, your money, your values, your hobbies, your circle. The silence that once scared you when she did it to you becomes the silence that helps you heal when you choose it yourself. Finally, you learn this. The man who walks away actually wins. He doesn't win because he gets her back. He doesn't win because he posts meaningful quotes and looks mysterious online. He wins because he can walk away from a situation that is destroying his self-respect and not turn around. That win doesn't show up on day one. It comes after the tough nights, after all the replays in your mind, after facing the fact that the woman you loved was not loving you back in the way you needed. It comes after you see her living her life like nothing happened, while you're still dealing with the emotional damage. At some point, slowly, that pain starts to change shape. It stops being the main thing running your life. You wake up one morning and her name doesn't hit you like before. You hear something about her and you don't feel that same wave in your chest. You stop waiting for the message where she explains everything. You look in the mirror and see a man who doesn't need anyone to pick him to feel like he matters. You see someone who chose himself instead of holding on to someone who already let him go. That's the turning point. The man who walks away is not weak. He is the one with enough courage to say, I can't keep doing this to myself. He is the one who understands that no woman, no matter how attractive or familiar, is worth losing his values, his future, or his mental stability. Most men stay. Most men try again. Most men keep hoping that they can fix something that was never equal to begin with. You choose a different path. You choose growth over comfort, truth over fantasy. That decision is what separates you. When you start living that way, you stop chasing women who use you. You start attracting women who respect you. You start building friendships with people who see your standards and admire them. Your presence changes. You don't have to perform. People feel it. The same woman who once treated you like an option might feel the shift too. She might see that you're not just doing better for now. she realizes you are never coming back to that old role. Not physically, not mentally, not emotionally. That thought stays with her more than any message could. You don't need to rub it in. You don't need to prove anything. Your peace and your progress say everything. So if all of this sounds like your story, here's the part where you actually change something. You have been doing relationships wrong by chasing instead of choosing, explaining instead of observing actions, staying instead of walking away, hopping instead of setting standards that needs to stop. Start by accepting what really happened. Drop the fantasy version, look at her actions, look at your reactions, be honest about the pattern, then make clear decisions. Stop chasing. No more double texts. No more long paragraphs trying to convince her of your value. No more trying to impress her with favors she didn't earn. If she wants you in her life, she will make that clear with consistent action. If she doesn't, you back off. If things are over, go no contact. Not as a trick, but as a boundary. Remove her from the center of your attention. Don't check her page. Don't reply to weak messages. Don't ask mutual friends what she is doing. Focus on your lane. Use the pain you feel as fuel, not as a reason to shut down. Build a simple routine. Train your body. Work on your finances. Fix your sleep. Learn skills that make you more valuable in the real world. Improve your style and grooming. Spend time around solid men who push you higher instead of pulling you back into drama. Raise your standards for the women you allow close. Pay attention early. If you see constant mixed signals, broken promises, disrespect, or a pattern where you feel like a backup option, don't ignore it. You don't need long fights. You just quietly step back. You don't stay where you are, not clearly wanted. Value your attention. Your time and care are not free prizes for whoever looks good. You can still be kind, but you are not careless with your energy anymore. You match effort. You watch what people do, not just what they say. Most importantly, change how you see yourself. You are not the broken man she left. You are the man who is rebuilding. Her opinion of you is not the main measure of your worth. Your actions, your discipline, your consistency, your character, those define you. Choose yourself, not in a selfish way, but in a strong way. You give love where it's returned. You set limits where it's not. You walk away from what drains you. You build a life that is full, even when you are alone. When you live like that, everything feels different. You don't need her to regret losing you. You don't need her to see your value. You know who you are. And from that place, you can actually connect with someone healthy in the future without repeating the same story again.